So thank you for attending. Tonight's webinar is called Growing and Sustaining Your AP CS Program. Hello, my name is Jason Slabotsky, and I am the Teacher Support Specialist for the UTeach Institute at the University of Texas. I've taught this course for 3 years before joining UTeach, and I have 10 years of teaching experience in New York City. So yeah, tonight I'm going to guide you through this, and you'll hear firsthand from a former teacher what it was like to start an AP program in his school. I've done it twice. So I'm very happy to share this information with you tonight. So first off, AP Computer Science courses, there's 2 of them. So when we talk about starting an AP Computer Science program in your school, it's just 2 classes. AP Computer Science actually started with Computer Science A. Computer Science A has been around for a very long time, and it is programming intensive, and you use the Java programming language in that course. And because that course seemed to always have the same type of student in it, it was very high achieving students, there wasn't a lot of diversity in the classroom, kind of that course was kind of shut out for your typical student to be able to, have success in. College Board decided that we need to make computer science more accessible and more equitable. So they came up with and created computer science principles. And I have taught computer science principles for 3 years. The programming languages we used was Scratch and processing, and we are going to be using Python in that course as well. The difference really is where Computer Science A is object-oriented programming and the exam is a multiple choice and free response questions. It's all Java and it's really just a coding class. Whereas Computer Science Principles takes in a lot of different aspects of computer science. Yes, students will learn how to program in at least 2 different languages, but they're also going to learn about big data. They're going to learn about algorithmic thinking, encryption, cybersecurity. They're going to get a view of computer science from a really broad view of it. So when we talk about, starting an AP computer science program at your school, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about computer science principles, and we're talking about computer science A. So what are the benefits of AP CS classes? Well, first of all, for the student, it improves their problem-solving capabilities and their collaboration skills. A lot of CS classes like to use project-based learning, and CS in general, you need to be able to collaborate with a bunch of other people. So that's one of the benefits of AP CS courses, is the collaborative nature in it. Also, they earn college credit. That should definitely be a selling point and a recruiting point for students. You're going to get college credit for taking this course. That's very good as far as financially. Also, it gives you an advantage when you get to college. You're going to develop skills applicable to many STEM pathways, and the career opportunities in STEM are lucrative. The average starting salary for a CS college graduate was close to $60,000, whereas the average starting salary for a regular college graduate was closer to $45,000. So these are benefits of having an AP CS program in your school. Now, there are 3 pillars, we like to say, in order to roll out an AP program at your school. And the 3 pillars are team, content, and then your pipeline. So this is really what we're going to talk about in the next few minutes. First, I'm going to tell you who should be on your team, what a successful team will look like in order to develop this AP CS program. Then we'll talk about all the different content providers that there are and which content provider might best fit the needs of your school and your students, and then the pipeline. So basically your recruiting skills, how we're going to get students into these courses, and then how are we going to grow the CS program. It's not just to get one class and do this once, it's to keep growing it, and maybe even one day having it be mandatory in your school to take CS classes. So step 1 of that pillar is building your team. And obviously the most important person, in my opinion, as a former teacher, would be you need the teachers. So the way this program usually gets started in different schools is either a teacher wants to bring CS to their school or an administrator wants to develop the program. So either way, this is how it usually starts. And as a teacher, there's no reason why you can't make the first move. So as a teacher, you're going to be on the front line of any CS program. And listen, there's a shortage of CS teachers out there. So by, maybe going to a College Board endorsed providers workshop or training, you can then get a certificate of 40 developmental hours. You make yourself more marketable. If you ever want to move to a different school or maybe apply for a different position in a school, if you, as a CS teacher, you're making yourself very marketable. So besides wanting to do this for the students, you want to do this for yourself as well. You need to be able to take that initiative to master this material. It's not easy learning computer science, but it's not completely difficult either. Me, as a teaching background, I'm certified in special ed, social studies, and math. And I started and have taught computer science principles for 3 years before coming to work here for the UTeach Institute. Also, you need to adopt equitable pedagogies. So this is an AP for all class, meaning all students should be in this class. It should not just be for the quote unquote kids who get really good grades and they're all going to go on to Ivy League schools. This course, CS classes are designed for everyone. It's AP for all. It's not just a catchphrase. You also want to connect with others through professional communities. So there's a lot of informal communities, Facebook pages with CS teachers, and then there's formal ones offered by College Board. They have their own teacher community, the AP teacher community. So there's a lot of different communities that teachers can connect with. All right. And obviously, as teachers, you can't do this on your own. You need to have support from your school and district administrators. And that's going to look different for everyone based on wherever they are. That can mean your principal, it could be an AP, it could be a department chair, it could be somebody as high up as the superintendent. But, they need to do research. The administrators need to identify the state requirements. Like, who can teach this class? What are the certification requirements for teachers? In New York City, where I'm from, you can teach one class out of your license area, out of your 5 classes during the day. So as long as I had my certificate that I went for AP CSP College Board endorsed training, I was allowed to teach this class. Might be different where you are, so make sure your administrators do research and know about the requirements. Also, the students, what are the requirements for them as far as graduation, and then also for endorsement. What are the pathways in your state to have an endorsed class in CS? Also, remind your administrators there needs to be a budget so that you can send teachers for good training and professional development. And there's a lot of funding opportunities. We're going to discuss a funding opportunity later on how teachers can get 2 years of the UTeach curriculum for free. And that's a funding opportunity, a seed grant that's part of the DOE, the Department of Education, and UTeach. So, these are things that district administrators should be looking for. Also, your biggest cheerleaders and your biggest salespeople when it comes to getting this course off the ground and recruiting students into it is going to be the guidance counselors. They have to be a big part of your team. You have to be able to identify the course prerequisites and be able to communicate that to the guidance counselors so they can then communicate that to the students. You want to educate those guidance counselors. You want to share a list of talking points with the guidance counselors so they can then share that with the students as well. The guidance counselors, they have to be able to encourage those students to consider CS. They need to be able to, demonstrate to the students, you like using technology in your everyday life. Would you like to see how this technology works? Do you ever worry about all these big companies and what happens to your personal data? So these are all things that guidance counselors can say to students to get them to consider CS classes. And, guidance counselors, you're the teachers, you need to educate them, even invite them into the classroom or demonstrate, what the class materials look like and what the course looks like. Demonstrate the unit projects. So that way the guidance counselors are really educated on who should be in this class and who would have the most success in this class. Also, don't forget, a big part of this course is making sure your building IT team knows you're developing this course and that they're prepared for the requirements that you have for this course. Now, to be honest, if you were to use the UTeach CSP curriculum, all you need is a Chromebook. All the coding is done on web-based browsers through free programs that have free access. So you don't have to download anything onto a desktop. I also find that a CS class works better when it's not in a computer lab. Usually having laptop access is better because kids are going to collaborate. They're going to work in groups. So you don't want to have them tied to having to sit in front of a computer. So laptops would be ideal. And you want to make sure that your IT staff is on board so that all the websites you need to use in the curriculum, the students have access to it. That's important. You don't want to be able to show YouTube videos about CS to your students, and YouTube is blocked in your building. Now, there's other people that need to be involved in this, and the next one, and most important as well, would be parents. A lot of times, there's a digital divide. There is a digital divide in CS, but there's also a divide because parents who work in CS obviously know the benefits, and they encourage their children to also take CS classes. So we need to educate those parents out there who don't work in CS of the benefits of their kids taking CS classes. We discussed the employment benefits already, the collaborative nature of it, but parents need to be educated. So maybe have a parent night at your school where you do some of the activities that you're going to do in class with the parents. Teach them how to convert from binary to decimal. Let them see how this is going to be useful. And, if you have any parents who do work in CS, bring them in. Bring them into your school to talk to students about what it's like to work in computer science, whether it's, how much, opportunity there is for job growth, or how they work from home, or, all the benefits of it. So that's important to include your parents on this team when you're building this program in your school. Now, the second pillar has to deal with content. So you want to start with a College Board endorsed AP Computer Science provider. You want to use a College Board and AP Computer Science curriculum because they have gone through a rigorous vetting process. Right? It's not like to become a College Board endorsed provider. You need to really have a rigorous curriculum. You need to provide lesson plans. You need to make it in-depth. It's not like you're just Googling stuff and throwing together lessons and saying, I'm going to do these 7 projects and endorse me. Not at all. It is a rigorous process. And UTeach happens to be a College Board endorsed AP Computer Science principles provider. We are endorsed by College Board. And right now we are going through the vetting process to become an AP Computer Science A provider as well. So for hopefully, and I'm looking very good, but hopefully for 2020 and 2021, we will not only be offering AP Computer Science principles as College Board endorsed, but also Computer Science A. This is important because College Board endorsed providers engage all students with inquiry-based lessons. It's project-based problem solving. So that is why it is important to choose an AP College endorsed provider when you're thinking, what curriculum should I use for this course? Anyway, the UTeach CS curriculum, we actually are a College Board endorsed provider. We have amazing teacher materials. When I was a first-year computer science teacher and I didn't know what curriculum to use, I attended a UTeach workshop. I got access to not only their teacher materials, but more importantly, their support. I mean, I taught social studies, I taught math. I mean, I never had like a community like the Piazza support community that UTeach offers, where you can just go on and within 30 minutes, if you have a question, somebody in their teacher community responds to you with an answer, shares materials. Literally, UTeach gave me everything so that all I had to do was go out and teach the class. My lesson plans were all made for me, broken down into 50-minute periods. All the requirements of the College Board exam was built into the curriculum. And also all my student materials were there as well. They use an online Canvas learning management system as their quote unquote student textbook, and the students have free access to it. So everything was included when I went for my training, and it really helped me roll this class out successfully. I taught it for 3 years. When I rolled it out the first time, we had one class with 12 students. The next year, we had 3 sections with 34 students in each. When I went to another school and started this, my first year I had 2 sections. The next year they had to have 6 sections of this AP CSP. So just to let you know, UTeach's curriculum is part of that, gave me the confidence to teach the class. It also just makes your students more motivated to learn because it's project-based in nature. So just that is a lot about the UTeach curriculum. Like I said, student materials, teacher materials, and support. And if you're a teacher listening tonight, you do have an opportunity where you can get a $1,000 stipend and 2 years of free access to our materials. And that is through this DOE-funded grant, which I had mentioned earlier when we were talking about your administrators and your principals, but this is something you might want to bring to them. So if you go to the link that's listed on the screen, cs.utexas.edu/seed, it is a DOE grant. And basically what we're doing is we're recruiting 160 teachers. And in order to qualify, all you have to do is have never used the UTeach curriculum before. So if you're a first-year teacher and you decide to be part of this, you qualify because you've never used the UTeach curriculum. If you've taught CS principals for the last 2 or 3 years and you used another curriculum, you can qualify for this if you decide to use UTeach's curriculum for your upcoming academic year, 2021. And what do you get for being part of this SEED grant study? You get a $1,000 stipend. You will get 2 years of our curriculum for free. That includes all teacher materials and student materials. And you will get a 40-hour online workshop ran by myself that will train you how to use our curriculum and how to teach the course. The only catch to that is half of the people in the study will be doing that 40-hour online this summer, and the other half of the people will be doing it the following summer. That is so that we can see, based on the grants and on the study, how much help professional development has, not only in a quantitative way of getting student scores higher, but also did it give teachers more confidence by going through professional development to teach the course? Did they feel more confident? Did they feel ready for this? So that's the point of the study. But as a teacher, and if you know any teachers who would qualify for this, it's a great way to earn $1,000 over the summer. You get access to the AP-CSP curriculum for free for 2 years. It's just a great deal. So when you're trying to think of who should I use as my College Board endorsed provider, think of UTeach and also think of this DOE-funded opportunity. Please go on to that link and just fill out our information sheet, and someone from UTeach can follow up with you. All right, now let's talk about your pipeline. We need to recruit for this class. You're going to be rolling it out, some of you for the first time. Some of you might have done it the first time and you're struggling, and that's why you're on this webinar tonight, trying to come up with some new strategies. So like I said, I've rolled this class out 3 different times in 2 different schools. And here are some of my best practices and other best practices based on teacher feedback. So recruitment, obviously you're going to have materials. You're going to make up flyers, posters. We already talked about getting involved with parents. You also want to show recruitment videos. There's wonderful AP recruitment videos online. You can find them just using Google and YouTube. Very entertaining. They show celebrities, they show athletes, they show musicians, all talking about CS, and they show famous tech CEOs all talking about how CS classes are wonderful and why you should take them. More importantly, what you can do at your school, hold a bunch of activities. We always did a school AP fair where we directly had a fair with all the AP classes, and I got to sell my AP CSP course there. I would push into other teachers' classes and do an hour of code activities with them. You can find them online, hour of code activities. We already discussed parent night. And also make sure that your school participates in computer science competitions and hackathons. Even if you don't have any CS classes, there's a lot of competitions out there, such as the Samsung Solve for Tomorrow contest, where you just need to have kids who are interested in CS, and they'll work with you to teach them during the contest. So, keep that in mind about having competition. And your best advocates are going to be your students. Students who have taken the class before are going to help you sustain your program. That's why every year it grew at my school. There was word got out on the street of the students talking about, hey, there's an AP class out there that you do all this cool computer science stuff and you don't have to write rigorous essays. You do have to do rigorous projects, but it's way more fun than just writing a lot. So that is one other thing that way you're going to get this program built. Invite other teachers in to visit your class and collaborate with them. And we already spoke about the importance of the guidance counselors. So that is basically some ideas, some different ways in our 3 pillars on how to start a CS program in your school. And then after you develop a CS program, what does that look like, and where does it all fit in? So just briefly to tell you that, you don't have to, but most people do start with AP CSP. It's open to more students. It's more open-ended as far as different topics. So I would always recommend starting with AP CSP as the course to start with, and then as the need arises, develop an AP CSA course. As we discussed in the beginning, CSA is Java-based. So, a teacher needs to really know Java. And it's a lot harder to train a teacher in Java than it is to train them to learn CSP from an endorsed provider. So I would like to thank everyone for being on the webinar tonight.